Greetings, ladies and germs of planet Earth and beyond. King Zero Phoenix here, and welcome back to Saurian. Now, before I said I wouldn't be playing this game again, I thought I'd give this game a break since there aren't too many updates to this game, not to mention there's only so long you can play as a Raptor and not get bored of it eventually. But the reality is, to me, this is still a very fun and interesting game. I was at sort of a down point in my life and bagging on the games I was playing, and it seems clearly to me, those of you who actually do take the time out of your lives to watch my videos, that you actually enjoy these kind of videos. So, even though I personally find them boring, I'm not going to stop. I do this for you guys, just so you know. Also, you notice my voice is... hear that my voice has gone deep again. I know. Oh, it's sort of weird to see a guy using a voice changing option to make him sound interesting. But if you ask me this, I just want this to become sort of my own little shtick. Like something that's like sort of my thing. So, every now and again, in between videos, I'll alternate between this book. In every session from the days, I'll alternate between this voice and my regular one. Pachycephalosaurus. Why do they have to travel as a group? I think that's all part of the herd mentality now. Which means getting closer to make a kill is not going to be as easy as it used to be. Is there no... let's see. Nope. I just figured at this point there'd be a sort of pack feature onto the raptors. Because we often assume that raptors were pack animals like wolves, thanks to the Jurassic Park films. But the reality is, chances are they really were, the smaller ones anyways. But larger creatures like this may not have been as pack hunters as we assume. Chances are, given that for creatures this large, there'd often be competition for food between feeding themselves and feeding any young. Trying to secure enough food for everyone would be quite difficult, and there's often a pecking order when it comes to kills. Most often the smallest and the youngest end up being the ones to eat last. So I really don't see how creatures like Dakota raptors or possibly even Utah raptors would have been able to survive with a pack mentality. Triceratops just fended off a T-Rex. Now normally, that's actually quite true to nature. And this is most why herbivores often formed herds. Protection, their safety in numbers from creatures like that big guy over there. Reality is, despite dino documentaries, you don't often see carnivores going after those larger, more healthier members of a herd. They always go after the weak, the young, and the sick, because they're the easiest to pick off and won't put up much of a fight. These lizards are keeping me full for now, but it's not going to keep me satisfied. Alas. The herd's coming down for a drink. Looks like the Rex is moved out of sight, but I still can't drop my guard. I mean, compared to those Triceratops, I'm nothing more than an appetizer. Still, that's not going to stop the thing from coming off and biting my head off if it gets too hungry. But that Pachy is on its own now. Not exactly glamorous, but it got the job done. Still, I better clean this up. Meaning I better eat this fast. The Rex may be long gone from you, but with their keen sense of smell, there's only a matter of time before other predators start swarming in. Let's see what else. I actually, this morning when I was out eating breakfast at a diner, I actually downloaded a Dino Encyclopedia app containing any and all gathered information about dinosaurs that have been recently found. One was the Pachycephalosaurus? Some sort of hadrosaur from mid to late Cretaceous. Apparently studies from back in 2003 showed that species, among other hadrosaurs, tested positive for cancers. Chances are the environment at the time during the late Cretaceous was extremely volatile, not exactly the proper environment for raising young dinosaurs. But cancer too? I expected there would be disease, but cancer was the one thing I was not expecting. I guess the war of cancer has been fought even long before humans ever arrived. It's interesting when you think about it. I do hope the developers eventually, when they do get to making the improvements on this game, will go for a pack mentality for the raptors. I mean, that's the only way creatures like this were able to survive. Of course, if the pack becomes too large and then there becomes a food shortage, there's only one thing that's going to keep them all alive: cannibalism. It's messy, but it's been done before. Like, I remember the old Walking with Dinosaurs documentary. Of course, I can't exactly use it for too accurate, since most things they had to use their imagination for. But one of the earliest species of dinosaurs, known as Coelophysis, they became so great in numbers they actually themselves had to resort to cannibalism to stay alive. Well, more specifically, targeting each other's young. It's cruel at first, but you have to admit, when it comes to survival, you want to stay alive to see the next sunrise, you do what you must. That's basically what this game is about. I mean, there are countless other survival games like Subnautica for underwater survival, Ark Survival evolved for a more prehistoric survival with mankind thrown into the mix. But this is basically the original meaning of survival for the creatures that inhabited this world long before we ever came around. While true, they also did have to worry about neighbors, much like we have to do now. They really didn't have too much time to invest in their own families, making sure they lived to become adults so they could pass on their genes to the next generation. And if that didn't work, at least they provide food to keep them, the current generation, alive until they are able to try again. Nature is a very mysterious being. She is beautiful, but at the same time, dangerous. And yeah, that also got me thinking, I'm not really sure. I said I do hope that developers will add a pack feature for the Dakota Raptor, but I'm not sure if they have any plans for doing that, considering they've scattered Dakota Raptor families all over this map. Time for some shut-eye. The fact is, I suppose, survival from here is different than it is today. Basically, at the end of the day, this is all we're doing. Just living comfortably. People are just living paycheck to paycheck. And that's not an easy way to live, I can tell. I have the fortune that my parents do allow me to stay with them. I'm in my early 20s yet. You'd think a place with this much vegetation would be swarming with herbivores. And again, with the crocodilian, it's all over the place. It could be wrong. One feature I'm certainly glad they didn't include was geothermal springs. Like during the late Cretaceous, due to the constant activity of the Earth's crust, geothermal vents would constantly pop up, releasing lethal doses of methane gas, causing a very low layer of the gas, killing anything that stood below it, from small little mammals, lizards, even medium-sized reptiles fell victim to it. If you're a scavenger, and you're lucky enough to get something without toppling over, it's golden. But then again, you'd have to get your head just below the gas layer to pick something up. If you end up toppling over, you will never get up. All the creatures have moved on from this spot. Now I need to as well. Strange. I have the music reduced to low enough that you could hear my voice, but if you just listen hard enough, that change in the music doesn't normally happen unless another predator is nearby. I don't think it's the Tyrannosaur. Whatever it was, it must have left. So that at all times, just